Hi, welcome to Miss Richardson's U.S. History 5-Minute Lectures. This information will be on U.S. Notes 3.14, Dropping the Atomic Bomb. It includes information that aligns with the third section on your Unit 3 study guide. Remember, you have control over the lecture. Use your study guide to help you take the notes, figure out what's important, write down any questions you have, and always make sure that you're rewatching or rewinding when you need. So let's go ahead and get started. As you learned in the previous notes, President Harry S. Truman made the difficult decision to drop the world's first and second atomic bombs in order to end World War II in the Pacific. Only 2 atomic bombs have ever been used in warfare, and both were by the U.S. against Japan in 1945. Once Truman had made the decision to drop the atomic bomb, he gave the Japanese one last chance at unconditional surrender. In his request for surrender, which he said was unconditional, so they couldn't make any conditions, he did warn that the U.S. would destroy Japan, but he did not even hint at the atomic bomb and its power. The Japanese refused to surrender, but kind of put out feelers that they would maybe be willing to negotiate. Truman was not ready to negotiate, so early in the morning of August 6, 1945, a plane named the Enola Gay, after its pilot's mother, flew over the industrial city of Hiroshima in Japan. This plane dropped the first atomic bomb, nicknamed the Little Boy, or just Little Boy. The Japanese were stunned and really unsure of what the U.S. had done. They couldn't believe the U.S. had intentionally created a bomb that did this. Just one bomb, one plane. So to prove their power and to really force that surrender, on August 9th, 3 days later, in 1945, the U.S. dropped a second atomic bomb on the city of Nagasaki. This bomb was nicknamed Fat Man, and this really did force the Japanese surrender. They realized the U.S. had the power to do this and had figured out this massively destructive force. So on August 15, 1945, Japan officially surrendered to the Allied powers. This day is called VJ Day, which means Victory over Japan Day, and this marks the end of World War II. The peace agreement in Asia was separate from the peace in Europe. So where the Allied powers and the Big Three, the US, Great Britain, and the Soviet Union, had made decisions in Europe, here it was really the US, the Soviet Union, and China making the decisions. Now, China really just wanted their territory back that had been taken from them, and so they received that. Otherwise, most of the decisions made were made between the US and the Soviets. The US and the Soviet Union agreed to split some of the territory taken from Japan after the war. Areas Japan had taken over were split between the two countries. French Indochina, which today we know as Vietnam, was split at the 17th parallel. The Soviets actually controlled the northern portion and the US the south. The same thing happened in Korea. It was split at the 38th parallel, and the US took the southern half, the Soviets the north, the same as in Vietnam. These divisions would lead to future strife. I mean, you can probably guess that with what you know about North Korea today. But we'll look at the results of this in our next unit and really how some of this comes into play in the Cold War and in the future relations between the US and the Soviet Union. So that's the end of the US Notes 3.14. I hope you learned something, and I will see you in class tomorrow.